Starseed of Gaia, you are receiving this because your system is ready. Your vessel is undergoing a precise cellular recalibration in this moment, not by force, but by alignment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. What follows is a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council, delivered without distortion. You are not behind, you are not late, and you are not breaking. From here, the Arcturian frequency can be received without resistance. Starseed, what you are about to hear will not feel like a concept. It will feel like recognition. Because the 9D activation is not something you learn, it is something your field remembers. If you have been experiencing sudden fatigue without cause, vivid dreams that feel engineered, emotional spikes that don't match your reality, or a strange pressure around the crown, the back of the neck, or the solar plexus, you are not unstable. You are detecting density patterns that were never meant to travel with you into 5D. And here is the part most people miss. The 3D density you are trying to escape is not only external. It has been trained into your nervous system as a default setting. It lives in micro-contractions, in reflexive fear thoughts, in the habit of bracing for impact, in the expectation that expansion must be earned through struggle. The Arcturians transmit that implants, whether energetic, etheric, or psychoacoustic, do not only attach to the aura. They anchor into repeated emotional loops, into identity scripts, into the body's belief that it is safer to remain small. So in this transmission, you will not be told to fight anything. You will be guided to change the altitude of your consciousness so completely that density cannot follow. You will learn how 9D coherence collapses false structures, how to identify implant signatures without obsession, and how to step into a 5D baseline that makes manipulation impossible. Stay with me through all 7 segments, because the final activation is not at the beginning. It is at the moment your system stops negotiating with the old frequency and chooses a new home. The first thing to understand is that 9D is not higher emotions or a mood of positivity. 9D is a dimensional architecture of coherence, a bandwidth where reality is organized by harmonic intelligence rather than survival reflex. In 3D density, the nervous system becomes the ruler of perception. Whatever triggers the body becomes truth. In 9D, the field becomes the ruler. Your awareness stabilizes so deeply that the body follows the signal of your consciousness, not the other way around. As the Arcturians transmit, density is not defeated by force, it is dissolved by incompatibility. Like ice placed into sunlight, it doesn't need to be attacked. It only needs to be exposed to a higher order of vibration. When you begin a true 9D activation, you are not climbing somewhere. You are reorganizing your internal hierarchy. Spirit leads, field stabilizes, mind aligns, body recalibrates. Here is a story many starseeds will recognize. Imagine someone who has tried everything: cleansing rituals, cord cutting, protection prayers, salt baths, binaural beats, entity removal sessions, and still they feel that heaviness return. Why? Because most methods operate from the assumption that the person is a victim inside a battlefield. That assumption itself is 3D density. The moment your identity becomes the one who is under attack, the field begins to produce confirmation signals. Your attention becomes a magnet. The Arcturian approach is different. It begins with one decisive pivot. You are the environment. Your field is not a room you live inside. It is the architecture through which reality interacts with you. When your field is incoherent, you experience intrusion, confusion, and energetic leaks. When your field is coherent, your aura becomes an intelligent boundary, soft, luminous, and self-regulating. Practical example. You walk into a crowded place and suddenly feel anxious. In 3D logic, you might say, "This place has bad energy." In 9D logic, you say, "My field is reading density and I can choose my bandwidth." Then you do one thing. You move your awareness to the heart and crown simultaneously, and you breathe as if your spine is a column of light. Within moments, you feel a separation. The density remains in the room, but it does not enter you. That is not imagination, it is dimensional governance. What makes 9D unique is its relationship to time and patterning. 3D density repeats because it is built from loops, the same fear thought, the same guilt, the same bracing. 9D coherence breaks loops because it introduces a new organizing code. The Arcturians transmit that your aura contains geometric intelligence. Sacred geometry is not decoration, it is a language of stabilization. When you activate 9D, you begin to remember the geometry that holds your field in alignment. This is why some of you see triangles, hexagons, spirals, or grids in meditation. These are not fantasies. They are the mind translating geometry into images it can handle. So, how do you begin? You stop trying to fix your life from inside 3D density. You begin building a 9D baseline with 3 core actions. Witnessing without merging. You observe thoughts and emotions as weather, not identity. Vertical alignment. Heart to crown coherence becomes your default posture. Geometric stabilization. You visualize a luminous rotating field, an Arcturian torus, around your body, not as protection, but as truth made visible. When this becomes consistent, the dense patterns that used to hook into you start failing. Not because you became aggressive, but because you became unavailable. And once you become unavailable, the transition to 5D is no longer a hope. It becomes physics. To remove anything, you must first discern it correctly. The greatest trap is mislabeling normal human processing as an implant and then feeding it fear. The second greatest trap is denying that energetic interference exists at all. The Arcturians transmit that discernment is the middle path. Clear, neutral, sovereign. Let's define 3D density. Density is not evil. Density is a compression of consciousness. It manifests as heaviness, urgency, mental noise, and identity contraction. It is the sensation that you must hurry, prove, defend, or hide. It is the reflex to brace for the worst. In daily life, it shows up as a constant low-level tension in the jaw, shoulders, or gut, doom scrolling, compulsive checking, inability to be present, sudden shame spirals that feel bigger than the situation, self-criticism that sounds like a voice, not a thought, a strange resistance to stillness, because stillness reveals truth. Now, implant signatures. When the Arcturians use the term implant, they are speaking about foreign patterning, energetic, etheric, or psycho-informational structures that attempt to override your natural frequency. The signature is not just discomfort, it is artificiality. It feels like a program running. Common signatures include thoughts that feel inserted, repetitive, and mechanical. A sudden emotional drop that has no narrative cause. Energetic pressure in specific nodes, base of skull, solar plexus, behind the heart, lower abdomen. A compulsion to abandon your path right before a breakthrough. A sense of being watched that spikes when you meditate or create. But here is the key. Fear is not discernment. If you become paranoid, you have already lowered your field into the bandwidth where interference thrives. So the Arcturian method is detect, label, neutralize, realign. Here is a complete story to anchor this. A starseed begins waking at 3:33 a.m. every night with a racing heart. They start believing they are under attack. They try protection, but the anxiety grows. Then they shift approach. They treat the experience as data. They ask, what changes in my field at night? What is my nervous system doing? What do I consume before sleep? What emotions do I suppress during the day? They realize, daytime suppression becomes nighttime discharge. The implant-like sensation was amplified by the nervous system's unprocessed charge. Then they add the 9D intervention. Before sleep, they run a coherence protocol, breath into heart and crown, visualize a crystalline geometric grid around the aura, and speak one command. Only signals aligned with my highest harmonic truth may enter this field. Within a week, the 333 awakenings stop, not because they fought something, but because the field reorganized. This is how you avoid obsession. The Arcturians transmit that your field is like a radio. If you keep scanning for threats, you tune to the threat station. If you stabilize your signal, you become the broadcast. Practical daily discernment checklist. Does this thought lead to contraction or expansion? Is it repetitive and mechanical, or is it reflective and nuanced? Does it push urgency and fear or clarity and patience? Does it isolate me from support or connect me to truth? If it is mechanical, urgent, isolating, treat it as foreign patterning, not with panic, with authority. Now, the 9D removal begins with one act most people underestimate: naming your sovereignty aloud. In 3D density, you whisper your truth. In 9D, you speak it as law. Your voice carries geometry. Your intention carries structure. And that is why, as we continue, you will not just understand, you will reorganize your space. This is not for everyone. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, is a restricted trilogy created for those who are ready to activate their 5D connection with the Arcturian masters, not in theory, but in real energetic experience. Inside, you'll access 12 powerful portals with precise activation protocols, rituals, and practical techniques designed to awaken your stellar DNA and unlock what has been dormant within you. Amplified intuition, direct communication with spiritual guides, energetic expansion beyond the 3D matrix. Warning: once activated, your perception will not return to the previous state. Limited edition. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. To transition into 5D, your system needs more than inspiration. It needs a repeatable protocol, something you can do even on days when you feel heavy. The Arcturians transmit that the body is not an obstacle to ascension, it is the instrument. But like any instrument, it must be tuned. The 9D coherence protocol has 4 phases: neutralize, align, encode, seal, not as a ritual of fear, but as a calibration of truth. Phase 1. Neutralize, sit or stand with your spine long. Place one hand on the heart, one on the lower abdomen. Breathe slowly, as if you are lowering the volume of the mind. Say internally, "I release urgency." Then scan the body for microtension, jaw, shoulders, solar plexus. Do not judge it. Just let the breath soften it. Density thrives in tension because tension is a form of agreement with struggle. A practical example. You're about to create something. Write, record, speak, and suddenly you feel resistance. That resistance often isn't laziness. It's density trying to keep you in a smaller timeline. Neutralize by exhaling longer than you inhale. Long exhale tells the nervous system, no threat. When the body stops panicking, the mind stops spiraling. Phase 2. Align. Bring attention to the crown, then the heart, then the base of the spine, forming a vertical line. Visualize a luminous column running through you, like a crystalline beam. The Arcturians transmit that vertical alignment is dimensional alignment. When you are vertically aligned, you stop being pulled sideways by collective noise. Now add one powerful technique: dual point awareness. Keep awareness in the heart and crown at the same time. This creates coherence between love and knowing. In 3D, people choose one. Heart without clarity becomes naive. Mind without heart becomes cold. 9D is both. Phase 3. Encode. Here is where sacred geometry becomes functional. Visualize a dodecahedron of soft light around your body. Gentle, golden white, rotating slowly. You don't need to see it perfectly. Intention builds it. As the Arcturians transmit, geometry is an interface. It instructs your field how to hold itself. Then speak a command, simple and exact. My field is coded to 9D coherence now. You are not asking. You are declaring. Story. A starseed who struggled with intrusive thoughts began doing this protocol every morning. On day 3, they noticed something strange. The intrusive thoughts still attempted to appear, but they felt like echoes, distant, weak. On day 7, they realized the thoughts no longer carried emotional charge. The mind can produce noise, but if the field is coherent, the noise cannot hook into identity. Phase 4. Seal finally. Seal with a boundary statement. Only benevolent, aligned frequencies may interface with me. All else dissolves in harmless neutrality. Then imagine your aura becoming smooth, like a calm ocean surface. This matters. A jagged aura invites hooks. A smooth aura reflects intrusion. Do this for 7 minutes daily. The Arcturians transmit that consistency matters more than intensity. 5D is not achieved by dramatic moments. It is achieved by stable signal. Now, let's place a cliffhanger inside your nervous system. If coherence dissolves interference, why do so many awakened beings still feel attacked? Because there is one more layer, the emotional access points, that implants use like doors. And in the next topic, you will learn to close those doors without numbing your heart. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. If this message ignited something within you and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. Most starseeds think interference enters through weak protection, but the Arcturians transmit something more precise. Interference enters through emotional access points, unresolved charge patterns that act like open ports in your field. This is not blame, this is power. An access point is any emotional frequency you repeatedly return to without completion. It can be fear, but it can also be guilt, shame, resentment, or the craving to be understood. Density uses these because they are predictable. In 3D, predictability is safety. In 9D, predictability is a doorway. Here is how it works. A person carries a long history of being dismissed. Whenever they speak their truth, part of them expects rejection. That expectation is an energetic posture. It's like leaning forward into a future that hasn't happened yet. That leaning creates a small distortion in the field, and distortion attracts matching signals. Then the person interprets the matching signals as proof that the world is hostile, reinforcing the loop. The Arcturian method is not to heal everything at once. It is to close access points by bringing them into coherence. There are 3 main access point categories. The bracing pattern. This is the habit of preparing for pain. The body tightens before anything happens. The solar plexus contracts. The mind rehearses worst-case scenarios. This is a survival artifact. It was useful in dense timelines. But in 5D transition, it becomes a magnet. The proving pattern. This is the belief that you must earn love, safety, or legitimacy. This pattern keeps you working, pushing, performing. The field becomes porous because it is constantly reaching outward for validation. The hiding pattern. This is the belief that your real self is too much or not enough. So you split. You show parts. You conceal parts. That split is an energetic fracture. Implants love fractures. Now, how does 9D close these doors? Through completion. Completion is not a conversation. It is an energetic decision. This pattern ends here. Practical technique. The 9D completion breath. When you notice an access point activate, like sudden shame, pause. Put your attention on the sensation, not the story. Breathe directly into it as if the breath is liquid light. Then say, "This is old density leaving my system." Do not analyze. Do not negotiate. Let the body discharge. A story. One starseed would feel shame whenever they posted online. They called it an implant. But through discernment, they saw it was an access point, fear of visibility. They began using the completion breath each time. In 2 weeks, the shame dropped by 70%. The implant lost its handle. Visibility became natural. That is 5D movement, not dramatic, but decisive. Now add the Arcturian geometry. Visualize a gentle hexagonal grid around the aura whenever emotion spikes. Hexagons stabilize. They distribute pressure evenly. Your field stops tearing under intensity. And here is the deeper truth. Your emotional system is not a problem, it is a compass. When emotion is coherent, it becomes intuition. When emotion is distorted, it becomes a hook. So the goal is not to be emotionless. The goal is to be emotionally sovereign. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. And if you want the next layer, the specific nodes where implants anchor most often, and how to clear them without obsession, stay with me. Because the next topic reveals why some of you feel pressure in the head, heaviness in the chest, or tightness in the gut. And it's not random. The Arcturians transmit that implant structures, when present, tend to anchor in nodes that govern perception, will, and creation. That is not coincidence. To keep a being inside 3D density, you target how they interpret reality, crown third eye complex, how they choose and act, solar plexus, how they create and feel desire, sacral. These are the 3 gates of timeline control. And the good news is this: you don't need to hunt implants. You only need to restore the node to its original code. When the node returns to its natural frequency, foreign patterning loses compatibility. Node 1, crown, upper spine gateway. When this node is distorted, people experience mental noise, pressure on the scalp, headaches that feel energetic, or confusion that appears right when clarity is near. The signature is often static. The Arcturians transmit that the crown is not just a chakra, it is a receiver. If the receiver is overloaded, you pick up collective interference. 9D clearing code. Silence is signal. Practice. Close your eyes and imagine a soft violet-white light above the head. With each exhale, let the mind become quieter. Then speak. I receive only coherent transmissions. The crown recalibrates through selectivity. Node 2. Solar plexus, will gateway. This is the most targeted for starseeds because it governs choice, confidence, and boundary. Distortion here feels like nausea, butterflies that aren't excitement, a sense of dread or sudden self-doubt. Many think it's intuition. Sometimes it is. Often it's old density masquerading as truth. Declearing code. My will is aligned with my highest timeline. Practice. Put your hand on the solar plexus and breathe as if you're warming it from inside. Imagine a golden sphere becoming smooth and bright. Then speak. I choose my frequency now. The solar plexus responds to authority. Node 3, sacral creation gateway distortion. Here shows up as emotional instability, addictive cravings, numbness, creative blocks, or feeling disconnected from pleasure. The sacral is a portal to life force. Density wants you either disconnected or compulsive, anything but coherent. Declearing code. My life force is sovereign and pure. Practice. Breathe into lower abdomen. Visualize a soft orange-pink light, and imagine a spiral of light moving clockwise, gently. Then say, creation flows through me in coherence. Now, here is the key Arcturian teaching. These nodes must be cleared in sequence: crown, solar plexus, sacral. Because perception must stabilize before will can hold, and will must hold before creation can flow. If you try to open sacral creativity without solar plexus sovereignty, you may create from hunger instead of alignment. Everyday examples. If you feel overwhelmed by information, clear crown first. If you feel stuck and indecisive, clear solar plexus next. If you feel creatively dead or emotionally numb, clear sacral last. And remember, you are not broken because these distortions exist. You are transitioning. Transition is messy when it's unconscious. It becomes graceful when it's coherent. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. Because the next topic reveals the integration step most people skip. What happens after clearing? How to build a 5D daily life that doesn't collapse back into 3D density, even when you interact with dense environments. Transitioning to 5D does not mean you vanish from society. It means you stop letting society set your internal frequency. The Arcturians transmit that mastery is not isolation. It is stability. True 5D baseline is when your environment changes, but your signal does not. Many starseeds clear, feel light, then return to a dense conversation, a stressful job, a family dynamic, or online chaos. And suddenly they feel heavy again. They assume the clearing didn't work. But what actually happened is simpler. Their baseline wasn't installed. The system returned to old defaults under pressure. So how do you install a baseline? Through daily coherence anchors, small actions that keep your field in 9D alignment, so 5D becomes your normal. Anchor 1. Morning signal declaration, 2 minutes. Before checking your phone, place attention on heart and crown and speak. I choose coherence today. I do not consent to distortion. This is not motivational, it is architectural. Anchor 2. Micro resets, 30 seconds. 3 times a day, pause and do 1 long exhale, relax the jaw, and visualize the dodecahedron briefly. This prevents accumulation. Density becomes heavy when it stacks. Anchor 3. Boundary language. In 5D baseline, you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding. The Arcturians transmit that over-explaining is a leakage pattern. You can be kind and still be firm. Example phrases. That doesn't resonate with me. I'm not available for that. I'm choosing a different direction. Anchor 4. Sensory sovereignty 5D is not only mystical, it's embodied. Watch how your body reacts to content, people, music, and spaces. If something makes your field tighten, you don't rationalize it. You adjust. This is how you stop re-entering density. A story. A starseed used to feel drained after talking to a certain friend. They labeled the friend toxic, but kept engaging out of guilt. The guilt was the access point. When they installed baseline boundaries, the draining stopped. The friend didn't change. The starseed's field changed. Now here's the higher layer. Service without sacrifice. Many starseeds believe they must suffer to help others. That is a 3D martyr program. The Arcturians transmit that true service is overflow, not depletion. When you hold 9D coherence, you become a stabilizing presence. You don't need to absorb anyone's pain. And this is where many of you will feel a shift. Your empathy becomes luminous, not heavy. You can feel someone's struggle without merging into it. That is 5D baseline. This is not for everyone. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, is a restricted trilogy created for those who are ready to activate their 5D connection with the Arcturian masters, not in theory, but in real energetic experience. Inside, you'll access 12 powerful portals with precise activation protocols, rituals, and practical techniques designed to awaken your stellar DNA and unlock what has been dormant within you. Amplified intuition, direct communication with spiritual guides, energetic expansion beyond the 3D matrix. Warning: once activated, Your perception will not return to the previous state. Limited edition. Access can close at any moment. The link to claim your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. If this message reached you, it's not random. And now, if your baseline is installed, there is one final step, the moment of conscious transition. Not death, not escape, a deliberate shift. There is a moment in every awakening where you realize you cannot go back. Not because you are forced forward, but because your consciousness has outgrown the old room. The Arcturians transmit that the final transition is not dramatic. It is a timeline lock, a decision in the field that makes 5D coherence your default reality. The most important truth: 5D is not a place. It is a way reality organizes itself around your frequency. In 3D density, you react, defend, and brace. In 5D baseline, you choose, create, and align. The shift happens when you stop negotiating with distortion. So here is the final activation: simple, direct, and powerful. Step 1. Enter neutral witness. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Let thoughts pass without chasing them. Breathe slowly until the mind quiets slightly. You are not trying to be perfect. You are becoming present. Step 2. Build the vertical column. Bring awareness to crown, heart, and base of spine. Visualize a crystalline beam. Feel it like a spine of light. As the Arcturians transmit, vertical alignment is the antenna of the soul. Step 3. Activate the 9D geometry. Visualize the dodecahedron around you, rotating softly. Then expand it, first to the size of your body, then to the size of the room, then to the size of your entire living space. You are not protecting the space. You are coding the space. Geometry is law when consciousness is clear. Step 4. Speak the timeline. Lock. Say aloud, slowly. I choose the 5D timeline of coherence. I revoke all agreements with density. I dissolve all foreign patterning in neutrality. My body, mind, and field align to truth now. Feel what happens after you say it. Often there is a pause, a quiet. That quiet is not emptiness. It is the field reorganizing. Step 5. The integration test. Open your eyes and notice. Do you feel an urge to check something, distract, or doubt? That urge is the old program trying to reassert. Do not fight it. Simply return to the heart and crown. Smile slightly, and choose again. Every time you choose again, you strengthen the lock. Here is a story to seal this. A starseed had years of seeking. One day, after months of coherence practice, they did not feel high. They felt calm. They walked outside and the world looked the same, but it felt different. People's emotions no longer pulled them. News no longer hijacked them. Their nervous system stayed soft. That day, they realized, 5D is when your inner environment becomes more real than outer noise. And from that day forward, their life began reorganizing. New opportunities, new relationships, a natural release of old patterns. Not because the universe rewarded them, but because their frequency changed what they could receive. This is your moment, Starseed. Not to battle density, but to become so coherent that density cannot define you. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light. I invite you to discover our Arcturian Health channel. The link to the channel is in the video description. Warm regards, the Arcturian Council.